YouTubers, and welcome to another episode of the vlogs. We're out here walking the puppies, making sure they get the exercise that they need to be lovely and healthy. And as you can tell from the title, or not tell, I'm trying to experiment a little bit just with sort of making the videos themselves. So today, episode 16, and that is the title of today's episode. Yes. So today we've got some lovely training to do, and yesterday, like I spoke about, we had a half hour, and it was about sort of getting through a tough week of training. We did a half hour and it wasn't as good as the previous half hour where I PB'd in, and a little bit disappointed, like I said yesterday. But today we're talking about sort of training as a whole, how it isn't always a linear line of progression upwards. It can be up, down, 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 up, down. So it can sometimes be frustrating when you're having, not necessarily failures, but feeling like you're either at a plateau or having multiple sessions where you're thinking that's overly difficult or overly tiring. If the program is set right and you have confidence in the program and you can see where you're going, then it is going to work for you. But of course there are ways that you can see if that isn't the case, which we'll talk about later. But now we're going to fuel up pre-session. We've got the 4x4 minutes that we've done before, we've done 5x4 minutes before, and the 4x4, so we have a target to beat, or to use to see if there's been any progression. And that's what we're going to see or use for today's sort of measure of is the program heading the right direction? Am I overtired? Am I not overtired? Do I need more sleep? Do I need more food? But now, let's go get some of that food, because remember, food is fuel. Yeah. And we've made it back to the gym here at Team Breakthrough, just outside of Bath, to do the 4x4 minute workout. We've got the target, so the last time I did this workout, I did it for 5x4 minutes and I averaged 133.3, so the target this time, even though I was still heart rate and rate is a focus, we now have an extra little bit to focus on, which will be split to try and beat 133.3, but last time it was 5 intervals, this time it's 4, so in theory it should be easier, but we'll soon find out. We've had a tough week so far. Let's see if we can keep stepping on, and we'll see how it goes. But to set up the workout, intervals variable, 4 minutes, then 4 minutes rest, 4 minutes, then 5 minutes rest, 4 minutes, then 6 minutes rest, then 4 minutes, then no rest. You should get a screen that looks like this, and then you press no more intervals and you're ready to rock and roll. So we're going to get warmed up, just some steady rowing, get a little bit of a sweat on, and then fire away for the first piece. Oh yeah! I'ma wake up new bench, join them subsidies board. Pretty solid finish to the workout there. Managed to step on 31.4 average, so did I say 33 average for the last one? So 1.6 faster. Pretty big step. So I'll have a little bit of a chat after I cool down, relax, and get some food, because remember, food is fuel, about that progress. Oh yeah. No problem. Alright, first. We got some pies. And now, as Yam's giving the cutest of looks, it's time to talk about progress. So we'll start off with sort of the progress over the last month or so. And the obvious things to look at would be the half hour scores, and I've hit a PB there, so that's great there. But then, like I've talked about, progress isn't necessarily a linear straight line forwards or upwards. It can, or usually in life, it can be up, down, backwards, up, down, left, right, circly, up, down, up. But when you look at the half hours, like the last one I did yesterday, was that already yesterday? I went 2 splits slower than my PB, which was only sort of a couple of weeks ago. So when you have things like that, when you think your progress has stopped or been hindered, or you aren't progressing to the level that you want to be progressing, you have to look at reasons why and think, okay, should I have progressed today or this week, or however you're looking at it. So for me, with the half hour, the aim was to improve, but it wasn't necessarily to go out and PB, but an improvement would be a PB. So the idea of that workout was to see if I can go out a little bit faster than I did with the half hour PB. And I did that, so technically it was a success for me, just not necessarily an overall time or the fastest split. And then we look at the 4x4 minutes that I did today. That was almost a split and a half faster than the previous 4x4 minutes that I did 2 weeks ago. And then it was faster than the 5x4 minutes as well. And basically, I had the confidence to go out and push a little bit harder from the experience from the 5x4 minutes, because basically the 5x4 minutes was a very similar split to the 4x4 minutes. So I said to myself, okay, if I can hold the same split for those extra 4 minutes in the 5x4 and the 4x4, I should be able to improve the 4x4, if that makes sense. But I really just want to get across that progress, like you've seen this week, can be not as easy as just going out training harder and progress is there. Because this past sort of few weeks, I've been training differently, and then I went and PB'd in the half hour, which was a big surprise to me. The idea was to PB in the half hour eventually this year, but not necessarily 2-3 weeks into the year. And so I didn't want to have the image of, well, you just train differently and then you just immediately progress. That's not how progress works. Progress, especially as you get better at something, can slow down. Or if you just do something for a long period of time, or if you're, say, for example, this half hour this week, if you're tired, if we're using fitness and training as an example, I was tired this week, or have been tired just with the increasing mileage as we go into Paris. We are almost, I think this week's the hardest week, and then next week it starts to come down a little bit, and then a little bit more the week before Paris. But we can make excuses up that do apply to the situation. I just really want to get across that our progress as human beings is, like I've already said a couple times, is not always just an easy straight line. Whether you can see the end goal, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll be straight line to there. You might have to take a meandering route towards it. And sometimes I've talked also before about, sometimes you have an end goal somewhere in the distance and then you end up taking a different route which actually changes that end goal completely. But we're taking another tangent here, so I'll end the episode today. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Again, a little bit of experimentation with the title and with the thumbnail through a suggestion of one of the Yam Squad comments, and I just want to see how that affects sort of the video itself. Would you prefer to see the normal titles and normal thumbnails, or do you kind of like the suspense and the surprise? But let me know in the comments below for that. And as always, Yam Squad, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. And Yam and I will see you tomorrow for a pretty interesting announcement. And I'm going to be talking about, or fingers crossed unless plans change, I'll be talking about the supplements that I have been taking over the past while to help my training and especially help my diet. So I will see you in the next episode.